Everybody brings a different background, a different context to our program, and I think the best part about it is I've had college experience at Division I schools. I've been a head coach before at different schools as well, but I think the biggest one that everybody's talking about, at least within our program, and that we talk about with recruits, is the experience working in MLS with Columbus Crew, specifically with Greg Berhalter, who's now our national team coach. So that's probably been like my master's degree in coaching and learning, and kind of seeing how every single thing is that we do in the day is intentional, and we're trying to prepare our players best for the game instead of just getting better at soccer. It's very, very specific training on getting better at our game model and our style of play. So I think that's been a big factor in what we're trying to do and get better here at LMU. That is that we are not going to be a team full of individual stars, and I've told the guys that they have to be committed to the group, committed to the collective, that we want to score team goals. I think you saw that on Saturday, that we scored some very good goals. We have good individual players, but we want the team to shine. We want the team to be the star. And I'm very fortunate that we have guys that were already here and also guys that committed and came in, that every single guy on our roster has bought into that, and they want to play that way. So we're in a really good spot that we can develop our game model, develop our style of play that's built around the team shining and the team playing a certain way. And that should be most fun for all of us to be involved in and everybody to watch. There was not a lot of time. We basically missed both signing days, and we had to get started very late. So with that being said, obviously our assistant coaches did a lot of work, including Dan, who got here a month after me. He picked it up right away, was running with it. Our old grad assistant, Matt Swan, helped us so much, even though he knew he was graduating. And our new grad assistant, Christoph, who was transitioning from being a player to being a coach now, all of us kind of teamed together and said, all right, what do we need? What is a profile of player that we're looking for in these different positions? Who are the players that we have coming back? So it was basically just a lot of work, a lot of long hours, a lot of watching film, a lot of travel, a lot of all these different things that everybody does. But I think the difference is for us, we knew what we were looking for. We knew the specific attributes for each position, and we were able to find those guys. And I think the easiest thing to sell it is kind of like your previous question. We basically laid it out and said, this is who we think you are as a player. This is how you're going to help the team. And we showed them with video. We showed them what they did on their video or their game and how that applies to us. And it's very easy to see, like, okay, I know where I'm going to fit. I know how these guys believe in me. So that's basically it. And the diversity piece is just, there's players anywhere. Like, there's players everywhere. Like, we know good players want to play with good players, and I don't care what language you speak. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what level you played at. We believe in good players, and we know good players want to play with good players. So that was kind of our approach, and it'll always be our approach. We're going to be very diverse. We're going to have Americans. We're going to have international players, and it's going to be this like eclectic mix of everybody that wants to play the way we're playing. They're amazing. Our guys that are coming back, they were with us in the spring, obviously, and we played a very difficult schedule in the spring. And we only had one home game in the spring, so everything else was on the road. We went and played Division I teams, and I think that they saw straight away, like, we're not going to sacrifice the way that we play for anything. It doesn't matter where we go. It doesn't matter who we play. So I think that they brought that ability to kind of see our game model, see our structure, see our style of play, and help the returners or help the new guys come in and learn it. At the same time, they've been so open to slight little adjustments, slight little things to make sure that we're putting them in positions to succeed, but we're asking a lot of them. And it's been great because a lot of other places, this could turn into a returners versus new guys. And you see that sometimes for teams. And for us, like, you give a lot of credit to the returning guys that they didn't allow that to happen, and we're trying to force them to be the responsible guys that are almost like they're all captains. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but we love them. Like, these guys are incredibly important to our program and incredibly important to what we're trying to do. And just take that first step this year. I think these guys are ridiculous, so I love them to death. I'm excited to take the first step, honestly. We saw it in preseason where we played App State away at day 3, and we went and played a top 5 team in the country, Charleston, away at a Division I facility where the Division I staff is watching it. we talked with the Charleston staff afterward, and it was very, very apparent it was a very high-level game from both teams. And I think our guys started to get some confidence from that, wow, we can hang with a top 5 team. We can kind of hurt them a little bit, and they obviously can hurt us too. But when you have high-level coaches that have won national titles come and talk to our team after the game and say, you guys are really good, keep going, I think that's what I'm most excited about, is how far we can go. Not in the tournament, not all those things, but what our structure can look like after 3 months of playing together and working on this and developing it. We really are at step 1. Maybe step 2, I guess, if preseason was step 1. So that's what I'm most excited about, is how quickly it can come about. I don't know the answers to that. I don't know if our players know, but we're all excited to see how we perform and how we can progress throughout the season. And it's going to be challenging in moments, but that's the most exciting part, is taking that journey together. The thing that we've improved on is we try to train our principles every single day. Some of those are individualistic when you're on the ball, and certain decisions, certain relationships, but most of them are collective decision-making, collective group principles, I guess. So I think we've improved a lot in those, and I think you start to see it when everybody else is using the same language with each other. I'm not saying English, but I'm saying the same verbiage. So they're all teaching each other, all coaching each other, so it doesn't have to be all on us. That's something that we've improved in quite a bit. And I think the thing that we're deficient in right now is really, honestly, our fitness. We're not a team that's going to sit down and run. We're not going to, line up after training and just run a lot. We build it into our session. So that's the question, is how long can we last? And I know we can be very, very strong. We can compete with anybody in the country for 60, 65 minutes. That's the question, is how long we can stay in games and fight and be on top of teams and hurt teams. And it'll get there by the end of the season. I just don't know how strong we're going to look in that 75th minute right now. And that's okay. We know that. We're going to use our depth. We're going to rely on our depth and see where we can be for this first game. No, I mean, these guys, they care about each other. Like, we force them to be around each other. Even at our advanced scout meetings, we make them, compete in little things like Jenga and like trivia. And it's funny at times because they don't understand where some of these questions are coming from, and some of them have never played Jenga and things like this. But the guys, they genuinely like being around each other. They all live with each other, and that's normal. But they, like I said before, they all want to play this way. Like, this is something that's totally different. That's very rare to find in college soccer, and the way that we're training them, the way that we're teaching them. So I think that the way that we play, you have to be bought into the group. And if you're not, then it's going to be very, very apparent. And what we've built over the last 3 weeks is that, and the spring, but if you're trying to be an individual, everybody around you is going to recognize it instead of the coaches having to do it. So I think that's the most special part, is that these guys want to be a part of it, and it's not a policing. We don't have to police them and like say, come on, don't you want to be a part of the team? Like, the team wants every individual to be a part of the team, and every individual has bought into that. So I think it's a really, really good mix, and the chemistry is great so far. Confidence and courage. That's the number one thing I would say. I think, going in, these guys are, I had questions from, can we take pictures at App State's brand new facility and Marshall's brand new facility? Can we take pictures? Like, yeah, you can take pictures. It's fine, chill, it's fine. To now afterward, we're thinking about the soccer, we're thinking about the problems, we're thinking about how do we solve them. And then you see them when we play at home against King, who's, we had a very similar record as them last year. They were in overtime with us last year, and they went to their semifinal of their conference. So, like, this is a very good Division II team that will play several teams like this. And I think our guys weren't focused on what jersey color we're wearing and all these other things that don't matter. They're focused on the game. They're focused on, how do we solve these problems? How does what we work on in training come out in this game? And I think that's where you see the performance. So I think playing App State and playing Charleston on the road at big-time events and arenas or whatever, stadiums, I think that helps our guys grow up quickly, and also understand, like, we can play with these teams, because there were moments in those games that we were on top of the game, and both of the other staffs admitted it. We weren't as consistent as we would like, but that's what preseason's for, is to gain that confidence and say, I know we can do once we get into our regular season. I personally believe it's the best way to go about it, rather than scheduling lighter teams and just building up your own ego, which may not come to fruition at all in real games. So this is the approach we took, and our guys handled it really, really well. I would say we have to control games. We absolutely have to. And there's a lot of ways you can do it. I feel like when we have the ball, we're able to control games. I feel like when we're defending, our structure allows us to kind of control the space and the time and where the opponent is allowed to play. But we can't have games that turn into just fist fight slugfest. That's not what we train for. We train for very organized games that we know what's about to happen. We're trying to pull a team into a certain spot and overload them, and without giving away too much, we know what we're trying to come out, to have come out. So I think if we can control games and we can control what's going on in the game, I feel very confident that we'll be able to come out and put a good performance in. But if we aren't able to stay composed and we aren't able to have courage in adverse situations, whether it's referees or weather or the opponent is really good, and we just kind of let that take over, I feel like we're going to be a really poor team this year. And that's just not our style. It's never going to be our style, and that's that'll be my answer to that, is like if we can't control those, then I think that we're letting everybody else control what's happening rather than us.